Levi Trumbull reporting in Frederick, Maryland. Today we are here to share with you a massive update and new revelations as it relates to the application for statement of charges that was filed against him on June 22nd, 2023. As you will recall, we were the first ones to break this story and get on top of it. So as you may recall, on June 22nd, 2023, specifically the night of June 22nd, we learned that the former restaurant owner, Charlotte Aufdem-Brinke, who was the former owner of Dan's Restaurant and Tap House, had went down to the District Court Commissioner's office. Specifically, we knew it was the night of June 22nd, and it actually went down and filed for charges against Shaun Porter. We knew at that time that she had filed for 5 charges of criminal harassment and 1 charge for criminal stalking against Shaun Porter. We knew that this application for statement of charges was coming. We knew that on the night of June 22nd. Shaun Porter came over and actually spoke with me. We did an interview on a litany of questions as it relates to that topic. But at that time, on June 22nd, we did not have the physical application for statement of charges. We did not have that document in our possession. But at that time, we did know that these charges were coming. So what is different? Today, we do have that document. We have the application for statement of charges. We are going to review that with you today. We are going to tell you what Charlotte Aufdem-Brinke, former owner of Dan's Restaurant and Tap House, is alleging that Shaun Porter did against her, the criminal actions that she alleges that Shaun Porter conducted in relationship to her. Again, we knew on June 22nd that a application for statement of charges, a criminal one, was coming for Shaun Porter, against Shaun Porter. We knew it. We knew what the charges were. We knew that the dates they allegedly happened, but we didn't know the specifics of those charges. Today, we do. Today, we have that document, and today, we are going to share that with you. We are also going to bring you the definitions, the legal definitions of what amounts to criminal harassment and criminal stalking. So again, today, we're going to go over all of that information that we have just learned. This is hot off the press, and we are going to bring that to the viewer. We knew on June 22nd, 5 counts of criminal harassment. We knew 1 count of criminal stalking, but we did not know the specifics that Charlotte Aufdem-Brinke was alleging. That information we did not know then, but we do know now, and we're going to bring it to you. So we are going to turn to the computer, and we are just going to dive in to what is being alleged. And I first want to start with our key players, right? So of course, as you know, we have our key players right here. Shaun Porter, you know who Shaun Porter is, Maryland activist, somebody who stands up for free speech. That is his hunch. That is what he prides himself on. This is his YouTube channel. You know who that is. Then we turn to Charlotte Aufdem-Brinke. Charlotte Aufdem-Brinke is the former owner of Dan's Restaurant and Tap House. That establishment has now been closed down. This is an article you see right here from the Daily Mail. And the article is in relationship to the Neil Glesner lawsuit that he filed against Chardin LLC, in which he alleges he was discriminated against for being old and white. As you can see, this is Neil right here, and over here we have Charlotte. But this is the article in the Daily Mail. Charlotte has become a public figure. Arguably, many people involved in this situation have now become public figures if they were not already before. So this is another article from the Minor Detail, a Maryland Politics Hangout website, where Charlotte was interviewed. I believe it was, here it is, July 16th, 2020. She did an interview, Ryan Minor of the Minor Detail podcast, in where she, I guess, was explaining her positions on bringing the BLM movement to Boonesboro. I haven't been extremely familiarized with the issue, but nonetheless, I'm just trying to establish the key players here. Both Shaun and Charlotte both have received coverage in the Daily Mail. Both from what I recall, have received attention from Fox News. So this is a very highly publicized story, a story that many people are familiar with. So before we get into the application for statement of charges, the first thing that I want to do is I want to define what those mean. So let's start. Now we go to, this is the most updated handbook, criminal statutes for Maryland that I could find. This is 2022. These are the 2022 Maryland statutes, criminal law. The first one we're going to go over is harassment. Remember, Shaun Porter had 5 counts of harassment against him. So what is harassment? How does the state of Maryland define harassment legally? Well, Section 3803 harassment defines it as the following. A person may not follow in or about a public place or maliciously engage in a course of conduct that alarms or seriously annoys the other, number 1, with the intent to harass, alarm, or annoy the other. 2, after receiving a reasonable warning or request to stop by or on behalf of the other and without a legal purpose. This section does not apply to a peaceable activity intended to express a political view or provide information to others. That is interesting. I just want to highlight for that. So if somebody is trying to provide information to others, that is not harassment. This is saying this section does not apply to a peaceable activity intended to express a political view. We know that Shaun Porter, maybe he's a political guy, however you want to categorize him in your heart. But these are not laws for political views or for somebody trying to provide information to others. Now let's move on to what stalking is. 2022 Maryland criminal statutes define stalking as stalking means a malicious course of conduct that includes approaching or pursuing another where the person intends to place or knows or reasonably should have known the conduct would place another in a reasonable fear of serious bodily injury, an assault in any degree, a rape or sexual offense, and then the fourth one, you can't see it, or false imprisonment. So you have to be doing something. You have to be maliciously approaching or pursuing a person in a manner that somebody would reasonably know is putting somebody else in risk of serious bodily injury, an assault, a rape or sex offense, or false imprisonment. False imprisonment means you're holding somebody against their will. That is what stalking is. It notes the provisions of this section do not apply to conduct that is performed to ensure compliance with a court order. Number 2, performed to carry out a specific lawful commercial purpose or authorized, required, or protected by local, state, or federal law. So now that we have defined how Maryland defines stalking and harassment in the criminal sense, we are now going to turn to the application of statement of charges that was filed on June 22nd, 2023 by Charlotte Aufdem-Brinke against Shaun Porter. All right, here we are, the application for statement of charges. The first thing that you will notice on this document is that I have redacted addresses and specific names of people whom I don't think give rise to the level of public figures. So in this application, I have looked through it. There are instances where Charlotte lists the names of ex-boyfriends who I don't feel are necessary to bring you the names of those ex-boyfriends. I'm going to respect their privacy and I am not going to involve them in this matter just because I'm not convinced totally that they rise to the level of public figure status, and I don't think it's fair for me to do that. But certainly the same cannot be said about Charlotte or Shaun. These are certainly public figures. And again, I will reiterate, no addresses. We are not going to be disclosing any addresses. Any address on this document has been redacted. We don't need to have that be demonstrated publicly. So, on to what we find in this document. The first thing that I want to bring to you, the first thing that I want to point out is right here. June 22nd, 2023 at 9:32 p.m. 9:32 p.m. This time right here, this 9:32 p.m., this confirms what I originally suspected, which was that these charges were brought late at night at the commissioner's office. I had initially believed that, and that initial thought turned out to be correct because we didn't see this posted until late that night. This wasn't almost until maybe 9:45, roughly 10 o'clock at night, I learned of this information. So this lines up very much with what I originally thought. So I wanted to bring you that first and foremost. Now, we see right here at the top, State of Maryland versus Shaun Porter. Goes over some of the initial charges right here, a brief description of them. Case number D111CR23 000068. These were filed for the District Court of Maryland for Frederick County. And it first gives a brief description of the 6 charges in question here. So as you can see, upon the facts contained in the application of Aufdem-Brinke, Charlotte, it is formally charged that Porter, Shaun, at the dates and times and locations specified below, charge number 1, harassment on 6/7/23, charge 2, harassment on 6/8/2023, charge 3, harassment on 6/9/2023, charge 4, harassment on 6/16/2023, charge 5, harassment on 6/22/2023. So 5 misdemeanor counts of harassment right there against Shaun Porter. And then that last one, that 6th misdemeanor for stalking. We see that one right here. So those were the 6 charges. We knew that on June 22nd. Now let's get to the part that is new, the actual affidavit of probable cause, as they like to call it, where they specifically identify how it is this person is alleged to have committed a crime. All right, so here we are on the first page of the actual breakdown of the charges. As you can see, Charlotte filled this out with a pen, and so complainant, Charlotte Aufdem-Brinke, defendant, Shaun Porter. Of course, address is redacted. When she tries to give a description of the defendant, being Shaun Porter, she's, male, race, white, date of birth, it asks. She doesn't know his age. She puts 45 or 46. She doesn't know which. Okay. It says, she writes that this is going to be page 1 of 11. So she goes on for 11 more pages to give a breakdown of what happened. And then we get into the actual description of what she alleges took place. And we're going to read it all. So we're going to read this whole thing in its entirety. It might take some time, but we are going to do that. So, I, the undersigned, apply for a statement of charges and a summons or warrant which may lead to the arrest of the above-named defendant because on or about February 2023 to present at, and they want you to list a location, at, and she puts number 1, her address, but number 2, she puts online and on social media. Now, online social media, that's not a physical location. So, okay. She writes, Charlotte Aufdem-Brinke, from approximately mid-February 2023 to present, Shaun Porter has almost continuously harassed both me and my business by repeatedly posting content online, much of which is fake and defamatory, and clearly aimed to bully, harass, instigate others to harass, and inflict emotional harm. I am now at a point, because of the content posted by Porter, that I fear for my safety and the safety of my family. To date, Porter has posted no less than 40 videos, shorts, and community posts on his YouTube channel designed to mock, intimidate, defame, and torture. I believe, based on information in his videos, that he is engaging in a collaborative attack with several other individuals. In February 2023, Neil Glessner, plaintiff in a lawsuit against my business, began to post media and social media content regarding the lawsuit online on both his personal Facebook page and a Boonesboro community group page that he moderates. On February 8, 2023, Mr. Glesner posted an interview he and his attorney Adam Grievel conducted with One America News on his Facebook. Almost immediately thereafter, Porter shared this video on his YouTube channel. With this action began a months-long campaign by Porter and others in his circle of escalating harassment against me and the business, likely involving a collaborative effort with an ex-boyfriend and more recently, likely involving private information shared by another ex-boyfriend and disseminated by Porter and ex-boyfriend in an attempt to terrorize, inflict distress, and cause fear for me and my staff. On February 15th, Mr. Glesner posted video of an interview conducted by Ken Buckler of Radio Free Hub City with himself and Mr. Grievel. That's Neil's attorney. In a corresponding article on the Radio Free Hub City page, the only, and this is quotes, local resident quoted in the interview is Porter, whose name initially appeared in the article as a link to Porter's YouTube page. This link was subsequently removed once Porter released his first video against the business on 2/17/2023. On February 17th, 2023, Porter posted a defamatory video attacking my business, myself, and my manager. In the video, he induces his followers to contact the business and posts the business contact info on his video description. Immediately, harassing calls begin to flood in, including racial slurs, homophobic comments, sexist and misogynistic attacks, threats of violence, implied death threats, callers singing KKK songs, etc. The volume of hateful calls is so extreme that we are then forced to take our phones off the hook for the better part of the day for several weeks. At the same time, also induced by Porter, in his video, we began to receive negative and defamatory reviews, including many that are clearly racist, homophobic, and misogynistic. This pattern of harassment, both over the phone and with online harassment, persisted for several weeks and often reemerged anytime Porter posted a new video. On February 25th, 2023, Porter staged a protest of our business. At the time, because of the constant harassment, most of my staff was afraid to even work that day. Others were shocked and disgusted by Porter's reference to 40 acres and a mule for the white guys thrown out. This was widely interpreted as a racist comment. At the time, Porter got into contact with my sister, who asked him repeatedly to de-escalate. He did not. For the next months, he continued to post defamatory content on his YouTube. During this time, Porter bragged repeatedly in his comments that he knows Judge Joe Michael, a material witness in Mr. Glesner's case against the business. He also appeared to brag about knowing Adam Grievel, Mr. Glesner's attorney. Being that Mr. Porter was instigating extreme harassment of our business, this further insinuates of personally knowing several of the individuals involved in the lawsuit against us, felt specifically geared to intimidate and bully us. On June 2nd, 2023, a Porter associate, William Barthel, came to the business to film and take pictures in the windows without permission. He then followed several employees to their cars to further harass while filming. To my knowledge, one of these videos was removed because of the content was deemed harassment. Mr. Porter then arrived and an altercation ensued. Similarly, Porter and his associates Levi Trumbull and William Barthel arrived at the business on the final day on June 3rd, 2023 to protest and intimidate once more. With the closing of the business, Porter has directed his harassment towards me and my manager and has seemingly been coordinating his attacks with ex-boyfriend who, like Porter, releases content that is clearly supplied by another ex-boyfriend, up to and including screenshots of private conversations between ex-boyfriend and myself. On June 5th, 2023, Porter posted a Facebook comment implying that he had first-hand knowledge of the contents of my business partner's deposition, another attempt to bully and harass, and showing his connection to individuals involved in the lawsuit. On June 6, 2023, Porter Facebook direct messaged my sister, threatening to sue her, to blast her on his YouTube, and to go after my father as well. He willfully lied and accused her and I of defaming his son, as well as accusing her of betraying him by showing me their messages from February. To my knowledge, the only person who would have known about those communications between Porter and my sister was an ex-boyfriend, as he was present with me while they transpired. Prior to the end of our relationship, after Porter messaged my sister threatening her and my family, he then posted on 6/6/23 another video about me and the tap house, including fake information likely supplied by ex-boyfriend and also showed by another ex-boyfriend in the video. He threatens to sue and dox my family as well. In response to Porter's threats to my sister and threatening video, I reached out to him on Facebook direct message and told him to leave my family alone, as he insinuated he knew my sister's address and would be visiting my sister and/or father. At that time, I specifically told him that he did not have permission to walk on or about the grounds of my family's property for any reason, and that any attempt to do so would be considered a trespass. I stated that in addition, his conduct was harassment and I was officially putting him on notice to stop. He immediately violated my request and responded back twice before I blocked him. The very next day, on 6/7/2023, Porter came to my property with associates Levi Trumbull and William Barthel and stood directly at the edge of my property. Barthel walked on my grass, where he filmed a video meant to further emotionally distress me, not only because of its malicious and defamatory content, but because he posted a video in front of my private residence for all his followers to see, threatening my safety and the safety of my family. In the video, Porter also references both ex-boyfriend without saying their names, but very clearly in reference to them. Within an hour, ex-boyfriend tweeted a tweet clearly aimed at me in response to the Porter video. In the comments of Porter's video, many of which Porter himself liked, they were disgusting references to becoming a hooker now that my business was closed, having STDs, etc. These sorts of comments have been pervasive all over Porter's videos and caused me extreme distress. On 6/8/2023, Porter continues to harass me by posting yet another defamatory video about me. Thereafter, ex-boyfriend begins to text my sister repeatedly, making comments such as, "He never wanted it to come to this. The universe will take care of these things," and stating that he had inside information about what they plan to do to me. Ex-boyfriend admits to my sister that he feels Porter is, quote, dangerous, and tells her Porter has damaging information about her. My sister felt it was an insinuation that he wanted her to cooperate with him, meaning her ex-boyfriend. By 6/9/2023, I took down my Facebook because of the ongoing harassment and stress it was causing. Even so, Porter called my attorney, Lisa Morgan, who is defending me and my business in the suit with Glessner, and threatened and harassed her as well, leaving a disturbing message on her voice messaging system that also contained information being repeated by an ex-boyfriend and likely provided by another ex-boyfriend. Similarly, Porter has stormed into my other attorney, Bernie Semler's office in the weeks prior and had a lot of similar harassing messages and he left harassing messages on his voice messaging system. Considering the ongoing lawsuit against me and my business, this contact and harassment of my legal counsel felt incredibly threatening and intimidating. On 6/14, I filed charges and a protective order against an ex-boyfriend. On 6/16, I filed a peace order and charges against another ex-boyfriend. That very evening, a source close to Mr. Glessner informed one of my family members that, quote, I would go to jail for perjury, that, quote, that it was going to be 6 men who hate her against her and that she will never win, and called me, quote, the most hated woman in Washington County. Again, that same evening, Porter continued to harass me by posting screenshots of a private conversation between myself and an ex-boyfriend. The next day, on 6/17, Porter posted the audio of a 911 call I had made in February. That evening in February, a 911 call had been anonymously placed from my location and the police had arrived, at which time I spoke with them in my house. After they left, my fire alarms began to go off and on, which has never happened before or since. So being terrified, I had called 911 and asked them to come back. Somehow, Porter learned of this call, and she goes presumably through an ex-boyfriend, had known when it happened, and I do not know if possibly he shared this info with Porter. After Porter posted my 911 audio on his YouTube channel, he continued to post more content about me on his YouTube page. In addition to posts made by his associates Levi Trumbull and William Barthel, and in addition to tweets by an ex-boyfriend, posts were made by Porter again on 6/20 in which he brags about getting a new suit to serve as a witness for another ex-boyfriend at the upcoming peace order hearings. Yet again, demonstrating the collaborative way these individuals are harassing, bullying, and terrorizing me. On 6/21, Porter posted on his YouTube community page about me yet again, another post of defamation and lies. Just this evening, on 6/22, Porter posted the police body cam footage from inside my home back in February after the anonymous 911 call was placed from my location. Beyond the malicious, derogatory title of the videos about me, posting footage from inside of my home is clearly meant to terrorize me, just as coming to my property to film a video was. All of these have been posted after I specifically demanded Porter to stop and stay away. In fact, my request for him to stop has only escalated his behavior, and he has posted no less than 9 videos about me and at least 5 to 6 more about my business since that time, as well as harassing my attorney and as well as coordinating this harassment with others, particularly an ex-boyfriend and likely another ex-boyfriend. As a source of information in 2020, Porter had also came onto Boonesboro United, an anonymous Facebook page created by her ex-boyfriend, to torture me and cause distress, and had also posted several of these. It feels very much like the stance of social justice my business and I took in 2020 has been a triggering factor for the hate and harassment unleashed by Porter. The fact that he continues to insinuate that he knows people involved in the lawsuit against my business and that he harasses my attorney as well only frightens and intimidates me more. I am now at a point where I do not feel safe in my home. I do not feel my children are safe. This spring, due to all the hateful calls and threats against my business, I did not enroll them in sports for fear of being on an open field with such an obvious last name. Now that my business has been destroyed, Porter and these other individuals have turned their attention on me in a sick plot to terrorize me and cause me extreme emotional distress, as well as jeopardizing my safety and the safety of my family. As I have stated in my complaints against her ex-boyfriends, this coordinated harassment, I have created a timeline of incidents that makes it abundantly clear how coordinated these attacks are. And I have compiled hundreds of pages of documentation and evidence to support my case. To date, Porter has posted over 40 pieces of social media content about me and my business in a pattern that is only escalating. His associates continue to post as well, including her ex-boyfriend, who has posted over 23 tweets. And then she puts, I think I didn't have that paperwork in front of me. as well as articles and Facebook content. I feel very strongly that this is a coordinated effort not only to harass and torture me, but to destroy me and stop my free speech by conspiring to threaten and intimidate me into silence. This is particularly regarding my stance and my business's stance towards social justice, and these people are conspiring to silence me, as well as to bully and intimidate my legal counsel to further silence me. And I believe, right there, that is where it ends. Yep, and that right there is how she wraps up her application for statement of charges. The complaint goes on to state important notices for Porter to consider when he is ultimately given this document. All right, so that is the complaint right there. Roughly, let me see here, roughly 11 pages of a handwritten application for statement of charges by Charlotte Aufdem-Brinke. I would like to reiterate one very crucial thing right now. Number one, this document, the one I just read to you, just hit the court system. We just got possession of this document. Number two, Shaun Porter has not even been served this document yet. He is not even in possession of this document yet. As to my knowledge, myself and the court system are the only ones who even has this document. This has not even reached Shaun Porter's desk yet. I know that because there is no served notice on the court system. This is the only document in this case jacket as of right now. This is a case that was filed on the night of June 22nd. It is now June 24th, and it's a weekend. Shaun Porter has not even been served this document yet. Again, I will reiterate, we are very early in this process. What is next to come, I have no idea. But my job right now, and I hope I have done it successfully, is to bring you the charges and the statement that was filed against him by Charlotte Aufdem-Brinke. Again, that is her message verbatim, and I hope that this was useful and helpful for those who are trying to seek more information about what is going on here and what allegations were being presented. I will not make statements on behalf of anyone, but I would just like to state for the record that number one, and I can't speak for myself and I will speak for myself. Number one, I am not an associate of anyone. She refers to me as an associate. I'm not an associate of anyone. So I want to clarify that for the record. I have covered this topic. I have covered Dan's Restaurant and Tap House. I have covered them extremely fairly. I have covered both sides of the issue. I have talked to supporters and dissenters of Dan's Restaurant and Tap House, and nobody has called me to do that. Nobody has instructed me to do that. I am not an associate of anybody. I am covering things that are happening, that are newsworthy, that are relevant, that are matters of public concern, that are matters of public interest, and I think personally they should be talked about and reported on, as has Fox News, as has the Daily Mail, as has the Herald Media, as has many other news outlets who have talked about this story and who have talked about this situation. So I won't speak for anybody else. I will speak for me. She references me in this document. I am not an associate of anybody. That is unequivocally false. She has every right to her opinion. I would almost like to ask her to provide her comment on the situation, but due to the litigious nature of this individual, it seems that I have to make a judgment call here on this one and state that it is probably best for me to not interject myself into any of this and to stay true to the facts and to stay as journalistically fair on the issue as I can possibly be and will be and have been. So those are the facts as we have them now. As this case continues, I'm sure we will be covering it. We will be bringing you further updates as soon as we have them. But as of June 24th, 2023, this is where we stand in State of Maryland versus Shaun Porter, case number D111-CR23-00068. Levi Trumbull reporting in Frederick, Maryland.